THV Part 2. Hi, I'm Stratman from pitware.com. I'm a member of Cobra Forex's THV team, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight into using THV for your trading. One thing that really concerns me about people trading THV is they forget the fact that THV is actually a scalping strategy and has been tested really well on M5 and M1 timeframes, and typically that's where I use it as well. Now, one thing that has to be taken into account when you are scalping with THV is you've got to be mindful of your support and resistance points. In other words, you need to be aware of the big picture. So what we will quite often have is a THV chart sitting here with our M5 ready to go, with our support and resistance lines added for based on daily pivot levels. So I've got traditional daily pivots being created here for S1 and R1. Some people that are wanting to really scalp quite aggressively might have the medium support points in here as well. But the main ones that will be respected usually will be R1, the daily pivot, and S1. Right. Now we would be best to have a chart open for analysis. If I was scalping, I'd be looking at the H1 time frame for a start, and I'd be drawing up a couple of support and resistance lines. I've had price breakthrough here, breakthrough here, breakthrough here, but they've always been rejected back each time. So now I'm looking for this as being a fairly good wall of resistance right now, and I'm looking for the potential for this to be price breaking short. But we've got another kind of trend line. I look at the horizontal ones more, but we can look at the trend lines as well if we want. We could draw a trend line through there, and if price kind of broke through down the side of there, we could consider that as a possible break or a bounce off resistance. So what's all this got to do with THV in a sense? Well, what I'm trying to say is, look, you could try and trade THV on its own and scalp backwards and forwards, and you could have scalped this and scalped that, but unless you're kind of mindful of the larger time frame, say your M15 is what we'd typically look at, but I'd start at my M on my H1 and I'd draw some other support and resistance lines just to kind of assist me. There's another good one there. I mean, we've got a lot of resistance all the way through here, and even here. So there's another point. If we break this line here and we close below it, we know that that's support being broken. So we could be in for a reversal of trend here. So go down to the M15 and we start seeing a little bit more detail, and so we've got here a bullish engulfing candle occurring, which is covering the whole previous candle. So price action may actually start heading down south. What are we got to be mindful with THV is we're now considering that we're possibly in a situation of going short here. Really? Well, only if this gets broken and we are actually trading away from our moving average. So we need to wait for that kind of thing to happen before we start even considering a trade. So what I'm going to say is, let's pretend that that has occurred, and now we're going to go to THV and have a look. Now look at the price, 143.924. Go to THV, 924. So 924, well, that's actually the bottom of today, and you can't see the price out on the side, but it's about here, just underneath where that candle is. The other point to note is that the distance from here, even though all the THV rules have been met, we've got the cloud broken, the coral has been crossed, and we've also got the fast tricks crossing the slow tricks, and the fast tricks is below zero. We're starting to get a bit of an angle on there. We've got potential for a trade here, but we have to be quite mindful that the next support point here is only 11 pips away. Now, is it worth, even though all these rules are met, doing a trade right now directly towards that support line? Well, I'd say no, it's not, because this daily pivot is quite a respected support line. So no, we're not going to enter a trade even though all the rules are met. So please be aware of that. So I wouldn't be looking to trade short here really until I saw this pivot getting broken and prices closing below it, and then all my rules set up. What I'd be far better to look at would be, I'm looking for possibly a bounce off this daily pivot and heading north again. Now anyway, let's consider that this daily pivot wasn't here. So we're considering over here that we don't have this support line, that we think price is going down, and we're also considering that we don't have this daily pivot and prices are going, we're thinking we're going to trade short. My next step would be, if this was still a valid trade, which it's not, but if it was still a valid trade, then I'd switch down my THV down to the M1 time frame and have a look at price action there. And I'd be saying, well, look, we're starting to stall here. The fast tricks is stalling off. All the rules are made, but look, the angle of the fast tricks is now flattening off. Bit concerned. So what we want to see is, we want to be closer to this point in time where we see this occurring when we want to be getting into our trade. So the cross of the zero there and the angle. So as you can see, price now has come back, and that would have been a bad trade to enter into on the M5 just based on M5 rules. So changing down to the M1, once we've got all our rules set up, just considering this as an example, all rules set up, we're not interested in entering a trade until our M1 rules are also made. And one of the rules is that we're now green on the fast tricks. We don't want to enter here. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons why we would not enter in this trade. Okay, so first is, on our analysis chart, we're right on a support line. So we're not going to enter short here at the moment. We're going to wait for a break outside these 2 points. On the THV system, we're too close to our daily pivot to trade short against it, and on our M1, even though our M5 rules are met, our M1 rules are ruling us out of taking this trade anyway. So I hope you get the idea. This is why we don't take this trade. Now, modifications on these, as you get more and more experienced with THV, what you can start doing is you can start disregarding the coral, because you have a better understanding of price action, and you understand whether you should be trading long or short. The coral was put there for people to, particularly for newer people, to understand that they need to trade with the trend. If you understand that really well, then the coral kind of isn't of any significance really. You can start removing it from your chart. But what I would say is that on M1, you probably want to really respect that coral. Okay, that's our longer term line in the sand, and you know, like here, this would have been a good quick scalp trade. All the rules set up. The cloud was close on the cloud here. We've got a cross of the coral. We've got these two crossed over. Beautiful trade to take, and not huge profit, but you know, quick scalp of 8 pips. And some people do that, and that's all they do all day long, is trade one way then the other. Now some people might even totally disregard the coral altogether, and you would have made a nice trade here of, there's a 10 pip trade, always respecting the cloud here. There's another trade of 7 pips. Here's another trade here, another 8 pips. So some people might do that all day long, and some people do. But if you're just starting out, do trade respecting the coral. Must respect the coral. And what I would suggest is, as you get better and better at it, maybe start thinking about getting into other trades on M5 where you start not looking too hard at the coral, but then you always look at it on M1. And then as you get better and better, you can even start disregarding the coral on M1. So this is how THV works. THV, in summary, THV must be traded understanding the bigger picture. What's going on the other time frames? What's going on your analysis that causes you to consider having a trade on THV? What's the daily pivots telling you? How close are we to those? Are we in an uptrend, downtrend, so on, so on. Okay, I hope this has been helpful for helping you understand THV. Let's Stratman out.